Karen May knows all too well that a diagnosis of dementia affects family and friends as well as the person with the disease. Karen's mom lives with it every day.
My mom was diagnosed, I guess about 8 years ago now, with Parkinson's. And for quite a few years in the early stages after the diagnosis, she really managed very well. The medication really was able to help contain the symptoms of that disease. And along with Parkinson's very often comes a particular kind of dementia called Lewy body dementia. So things started changing for her gradually over time. She was still able to live on her own for some time, but over the time, as the time passed, it became necessary for her to have a little more support.
Karen reached out to the Alzheimer's Society Muskoka to see what services were available in the community, not only for her mom, but for herself.
They actually have a support group on the fourth Thursday of every month here in Huntsville at Fairvern, where people just get together who are touched by Alzheimer's or any other kind of dementia, and they it's a community thing. We sit and we have a cup of coffee and we just talk, we tell our stories, and it is moderated somewhat, so there's some direction with the discussion, but it's just mostly an opportunity to connect with other people in the community who are touched by this disease. So they have a 5-part learning series, which they offer all over Muskoka, Gravenhurst, Bracebridge, Huntsville. They also offer it in Parry Sound at different times. And the first part of the learning series is, deals with what kinds of challenges you might begin to face early on in the phases of dementia. And as the learning series progress, it's later stages, right to the fifth part of the series is about care in the later stages. So I was able to I actually took 2 of those 5 courses.
The Alzheimer's Society's office is located in Bracebridge on Manitoba Street, and they have a library with books and DVDs that anyone can borrow. Karen explains how this disease has affected their family.
In the early stages, she was really very independent. My mom was always a fiercely independent person, always did for herself. She worked, she supported herself. So to see her begin to slow down as her daughter was very difficult, of course. I began to notice that she would forget things. As the disease progressed, she would have a hard time finding the right word. And I've since learned through the learning series that there's a thing called aphasia, where they actually substitute in some other word that makes sense to them, but the effect of that is that they're sometimes speaking gibberish, and it's almost like having a young toddler who's learning how to speak. The mom, who is around a lot, can usually figure out what they're trying to say. And because I've been around my mom a lot, usually I can cobble together what her meaning is. But it's frustrating for her when she can't find the right words to communicate and express herself. And of course, it's frustrating for me to try and, help her with whatever situation it is that she wants help with, but not really fully understanding what the problem is. So I've really had to come to terms with just on a good day, we can sort of somewhat have a normal conversation. Even though there's a lot of forgetfulness and words missed and whatever, and she'll get halfway through a sentence and forget what she's talking about. And I had to let go of any expectation that there would be sense in the conversation, and just you learn to go with the flow. And if something comes out that's rather bizarre, then you just go with it.
As Karen looks through her family photo albums, she said looking through them reminded her that even though your memories decline, there can still be some quality of life and especially love.